Hi, welcome. If you haven't already, please like, subscribe, and turn on the notifications. And today we are interviewing the 2023 West Bloomfield High School's You Matter speaker and first legally blind D1 athlete and now motivational speaker, Aaron Golub. How are you doing today?
I'm doing well. How are you? Thank you for
I'm
having me.
doing great. Glad to have you. What eye disease were you born with?
Yeah, so I have a very rare genetic eye disease called Peter's anomaly.
If you could have an eye surgery to see fully out of one of your eyes, would you?
Definitely, right now it's not a possibility for me, but the way the world and technology is going, you never know in 10 years from now that absolutely could be the case.
How is your life different than someone who has had full vision?
I'd say it's certain adjustments that I have to make. Obviously I can't drive, so relying on, whether it be friends or getting Ubers or Lyfts, things like just navigating an airport. There's different challenges for me. And so I need to think through different situations, I think more than other people, understand how to plan certain things, even just crossing the street, understanding that when I'm gonna cross, really making sure that I'm not gonna get hit by a car. And so it's really thinking through different situations and making the adjustments that I need to be able to do the day-to-day things that everybody else can do.
Using your other four senses to kind of guide you throughout the day, how does that work for you?
Yeah, so for me, I think I pay more attention to other things than other people. And so let's go back to that example of crossing the street. Obviously I'm going to look to the best of my ability, but I'm also really going to rely on listening and making sure that I, don't hear any cars coming or something like that. And so it's things like that where I'm paying more attention to it. Oftentimes people have the misconception that, oh, do I have better hearing than someone? And the answer is no, I don't have better hearing, but I pay more attention to it because I need to. And so it may seem like I have better, if that makes sense.
What does your schedule look like?
Yeah, so it depends on the day, but typically I wake up pretty early around 5 a.m., go have something to eat quick and go to the gym and work out. And then I'm running two businesses now. And so it's some days are, I've been on calls all day today for the last like 9 hours. Other days it's, I don't have calls all day, and those are the days I like, where it's, just building the businesses and helping clients and doing those types of things. And then there's also days, similar to when I came to speak at your school. It's, days of travel and going to speak and doing those types of things as well.
What are the two businesses that you currently run?
Yeah. So the first one is basically my speaking workshops and consulting. And so I'll go into schools, to companies, to events, to associations all over the world and speak, share my story, share my message, whether it be for a speaking engagement, a more interactive workshop, or oftentimes with companies that will also turn into longer term consulting. That's the first business. The other business that I run is we essentially grow and scale other people's speaking businesses. So the same way I've really been able to master lead generation, sales, marketing for my speaking business, we go in as a consulting team and help other speakers grow and scale their business so they can get booked and paid to speak more often as well.
How are you able to get your name and your business where you talk to people so known?
Yeah, I think there's three aspects to it. I'd say the first one is the marketing, branding, positioning. And so it's marketing myself as a professional speaker, as a professional high fee speaker. I always want people to see me online. When you Google me, what do you see? You see someone who is presentable. You see someone who works with top tier clients. You see someone who is this professional and not what I like to say, a low fee motivational speaker, but a high fee professional speaker. And so because of that, I attract those clients who want to work with me in a great capacity. The next aspect is lead generation. I think oftentimes people think that they need to just sit back and wait for business to come to them. And I take the exact opposite approach. I'm going out and finding business every single day, through systems, through automation, through team. We are doing tons and tons of outreach every single day to schools, to companies, to associations all over the world trying to get me booked and paid to speak more. And the last one is sales. And so when we get people who are interested, it's making sure I run a sales process in a efficient and professional manner to actually work with the clients that are a good fit for me.
When you mention that going to the gym every morning is a part of your routine, what exercises are you allowed to do? What are your favorites? Do people have to supervise you?
So no one has to supervise me. I mean, I can do everything, everyone else does. Obviously I need to be, careful walking around the gym. If there's black weights on a black floor, then just, make sure I don't trip. But, I can do everything everyone else does. I mean, I basically do the same types of workouts I did when I was, playing football. So, benching, squatting, deadlifting, doing those types of things, all the time. And so that, it's a fairly consistent, workouts to when I was, training for football, but doing those types of things today is what I enjoy. I really love lifting heavy weights. It's almost like a meditation for me, and so it's definitely an activity I love.
How much do you tend to lift?
Totally depends. I mean, I'd say around my pro day at the end of college, my numbers were a little higher than they were now, but back then I was benching around 350, I was squatting around 500, I was deadlifting around 600.
How do you build strength if you start off with a lower to get to the 500?
Yeah, it's kind of two aspects. The first one is just consistency in lifting. And so in working out and in exercise, I think oftentimes people think that, oh, I'm going to work out for a year and see the results tomorrow. And it's no, you see someone who's very strong or very fast or athletic, and that's something that comes over years and years of dedication and consistency and discipline. And so that's the first thing. The second one is, eating. My coaches would tell me all the time, I need to eat more. And that's because they need me to gain more weight so I could gain more muscle and size. And so when it comes to working out and lifting weights and getting stronger, it's, being able to lift consistently and then also eating enough and eating the right foods.
What does your diet consist of? Do you still have a similar diet to when you played football?
I guess similar-esque. I probably don't eat as much as I did then. But I definitely try and eat very healthy. I try to, eat a good amount to, maintain, you know, uh, uh, the strength I have. But it's definitely about making sure that I eat healthy and, enough every day is kind of the main priorities for me, so I can continue to perform, every day when I go to the gym.
When you did football, what was your schedule and how did you balance school and football?
Yeah, so for when I was playing football, usually, it's, wake up very early, go to, whether it be in season going to practice or off season going to, work out, whether it be for sprints or for weights, whatever the, day was. But going to work out, going to train, sometimes we'd also have meetings during the mornings as well. And so my mornings, really from like 6 a.m. to like 11:30 a.m., Monday through Friday, were taken up with football. And then classes for me didn't really start till noon most days. Occasionally, if there was a class that like I had to take and it was started at 11, I could adjust my schedule. But most of the time, classes for me weren't until the afternoon. And so football was really the morning. Then classes, would start for me in the afternoons most days. And then it was, about doing, just doing the work and that everyone else does as a student. Obviously, as an athlete, it's a lot more of being able to work out, review film, have team meetings, those types of things, which takes up a lot of time as well, though.
When you face adversities, do you say one word? Do you have certain thoughts to help you get through them?
I wouldn't say one specific word. What I would say though is I'm a strong believer that we have a choice in how we perceive our situations, and oftentimes people think that the challenges and adversities they face happen to them, whereas I talk a lot about how they happen for us to learn, to grow, to get better, and when you can have the perception of the challenges that you're facing that they are happening for you, that's really important. At the same time, I think it's also important to find gratitude. I talk a lot about finding gratitude within the situations that you're in. I'm so thankful and grateful that I was born legally blind because it's turned me into the person I am today and helped to create the athlete I became, the relationships I have, the businesses that I run. And so, I find gratitude within that. And so it's hard when you have a challenge to find gratitude for it. But if you can find even a little sliver of gratitude within the challenges you're facing, I think it makes you, better. It makes you happier, healthier, more successful in the long run.
Can you tell us a story of how in football practice, while you guys were training, how you wanted to be treated like everyone else? You didn't want a different workout because you were blind. You wanted to do exactly what everyone else did.
Yeah. I think, and I'll tell you a story in a second. And I think when I was playing, I think oftentimes in the beginning, coaches might say, oh, we have to adjust things. But, they would see pretty early on that, I was going to do everything everyone else was willing to do. If I fell down, I fell down. If I tripped on sling, I tripped on sling. But I wanted to be treated the same. I wanted to be pushed the same. And I would push myself, if just as much, if not harder, as other people. And so, I remember one day, one of the first days of training camp, my freshman season at Tulane, I got to school and the first punt went out. They did it and then they called second team punt. And so I ran onto the field. And as I'm getting set up, one of the people across the line goes, "Oh, isn't that the blind kid?" And in my mind, I was like, "This is my one shot to prove that I deserve to be here to earn the respect of others." And so, my focus that was I snapped the ball and I snapped as hard, fast, and accurate as I could, and I had a perfect snap, and then I just blocked the guy in front of me, wouldn't let him get past me, and I earned the respect of others on that play because not only did they see that I was good, but I wasn't willing to. I wasn't there just to play around. I was there going to hit someone. I was there going to be a part of the team and be a contributing member of the team.
Could you tell the story of when you guys were doing the workout of on the stairs and how
Yeah.
you wanted the same treatment as everyone else, even if it forever could have hurt you?
Yeah, look, so when I was training for my pro day, I went out to San Diego and I was training with some people there, a bunch of other guys that were in the NFL or getting ready for their pro day. And when we the first day I'm there, we drive to this beach, and the guy running it, his name's John, says, Aaron, we're gonna work on this beach. I'm like, awesome, let's go. And so we get to this beach and we park on the top of these stairs and we start walking down them. And John looks over at me and goes, Aaron, can you do this? Can do what? And these stairs, just keep in mind, they're, probably 50 stairs high. They're, covered in rocks, cracks, sand all over the place. And he looks at me and goes, Aaron, we're going to run up and down these stairs. In my mind, I'm thinking, this is awful. This is the last thing I want to do. I'm going to fall down all of them. By mouth, I go, absolutely, John. Let me watch the first person or two go, and I'll go right after them. So the first couple people sprint up as fast as they can, and then it's my turn. And so I start, sprinting up, and by the fourth step, I trip on a rock, I fall, and I come down. I get set, and I start sprinting up as fast as I can again, and I make it to maybe the sixth step, and I hit my foot in a crack, and I twist it, and I fall down. And I walk down, and I think to myself, why is everybody else getting up and I'm not? And it dawns on me that I have a limitation that others don't. And so I have to think to myself, what can I do differently? And so I start to, say, I need to understand my surroundings. And so I start to walk up and just walk up, understand where things are, where the rocks are, where the cracks are. I do that a couple times. And I start to jog and I slowly start to increase the speed. Eventually I'm running, eventually I'm sprinting. And it might take me 10 times to get up, but at least I got up. And the point there is, look, oftentimes we see the success that someone else has, whether it be someone we know, a friend, family member, or someone that we don't know, someone online. And when we see that success, we think that the way they accomplished it is through one path, and we can only take that one path to succeed. And that's not true. There's thousands, there's millions of different paths that can lead to the same end result. And it's about finding what path is right for you in every single situation.
You talk about your roles in football. What were some of the positions that you played?
Yeah, so when I started off in seventh grade, I was an offensive defensive lineman, and look, at the time that was okay, but I wasn't very good. I wasn't very big, fast, strong, or athletic, and so by my sophomore year of high school, I was a third string JV athlete, and I was never playing. And I decided I wanted to find a way. I was sick of not playing. I was sick of not being confident, not touching the field, and so I realized that I could potentially try and play the position long snapping, and if I got good enough at it, there might be an opportunity. And so from then on out, my sole focus was long snapping, was getting better at that and doing whatever I could to, actually get playing time.
When you were applying for college, can you talk about what you did for that?
Yeah, so for me, applying to college, there was part of it that was the same as everybody else of just applying to certain schools, but a large part was different than most people because obviously getting recruited, I was trying to earn a spot on a team, and I wasn't going to go to a school that I couldn't play at. And so I was reaching out to coaches all over the country. Coaches weren't necessarily coming to me in the beginning, and so I went online and found the contact information of every college coach in the country and started cold calling all of them, cold emailing all of them. And I showed up on tons of football offices just waiting around. And my goal was I'm going to find one person that says yes. It didn't matter if, 100 of them say no to me, but eventually someone will say yes and give me that shot. And eventually that happened with Tulane. And I'm thankful and grateful they did because, they gave me that one opportunity and it led to an incredible career there.
When you talked about your disability with the coach, how'd you feel at that time when you were talking to him?
Yeah, so when, the context for that is after my sophomore season, my first coaching staff was fired. And so, the new coach came in and at first I was definitely hesitant and didn't know how to talk to him. And eventually I had to find a way to, just go in and have an open and honest conversation. And so when I did that, he was nervous 100% in the beginning because he had never worked with someone like me. And I just had to show him that I was willing to try, I was willing to give it an opportunity. And we came to an agreement that we would, try spring ball. We'd do it. And if we had to have this conversation again, we would. But he was willing to give me a shot. And so from then on out, my focus was how I can help the team get better, how I can be a better leader, teammate, and friend every single day in practice.
Why did you decide to stop playing football?
Yeah. So after my pro day, I did well. I talked to a bunch of teams and, I kind of just made a decision that, they're in my position, there's one guy per team. And if he doesn't get hurt, it's a great position for him because he's there for 10, 15 years. But it's hard for newer guys to break in every year. And so there always are a few, don't get me wrong. But I had other opportunities in the world of business and I didn't want to bounce around to, be a free agent on different NFL teams and just bounce around from tryout to tryout, camp to camp for, several years trying to make a team. And so I made the decision that I wanted to go into the world of business and pursue other things.
Did you take any classes before you started your two businesses?
I mean, I studied finance in school, but transparently, I mean, the stuff that I learned in school and at Tulane, it doesn't translate to the world of entrepreneurship in that way. A lot of, in my opinion, the world of entrepreneurship and starting a business is, trial by fire. You need to get in the weeds, you need to try, you need to fail, you need to try, you need to fail, you need to try, you need to fail, and eventually find something that works. And you find something that works and you do it, and then you fail. It's about entrepreneurship is getting kicked in the stomach 1,000 times just to have one success, and then getting kicked in the stomach another 1,000 times to have another success. But the journey of it is incredible. It's a lot of fun. I love it. I think that if anyone has an interest in or they should pursue it because it's an incredible and fun thing if you're willing to endure the challenges.
Is there about a time frame of setting up a business and setting yourself up for success?
Not necessarily. I mean, I think I always tell people, look, it's about just trying. If you have an idea, just go and try. The longer you wait, the less likely you are to, do something. Too many people think that they have to have the perfect business plan, the perfect situation. To be honest, if you take a business class, I think you're taught the wrong things. Oftentimes, and I think my personal opinion is things like in getting an MBA after college is becoming less and less important. I will never get one. I don't believe in getting one. For certain people, they're great if you want to use them for a specific reason. But I'm of the belief that you just go and you figure it out. Having the perfect business plan delays everything. I'm a believer that if you want to, let's just say, start a marketing company, you go out and start a marketing company with the idea that you have, and you work for free for 5 clients and you do good work for them, you get testimonials, and then you go get another 5 clients and you start charging them a low price. You do good work, you get testimonials, and then you start getting new clients and raising the prices. And you learn by doing that, and you're going to fail along the way. Don't get me wrong. but you have to get in the weeds. You have to get in the game to learn.
And I think that's a great way to go too, because I do know there are people that are like, no, I'm gonna get paid for this. Do the work because you want to get work. Eventually, you'll get to that point where, yeah, you may need a little cash or be required cash to do the task, but always start off free and work your way up.
Absolutely. I think it's really important. And I tell that to people who are, speakers all the time. If you want to get into the world of speaking, it's like go speak at 10 places for free and then come talk to me. Like, do not expect to get paid thousands of dollars to go speak until you've paid your dues. Everyone's done it. In every business that you're in, you need to start at free and then, start out for a low price and then work your way up.
It's almost like every business, you start off free. You start off, if you do have to spend cash, taking it out of your earnings from something else to start your business, to then, when you eventually thrive, then you end up using those profits. But you always have
Absolutely.
to start somewhere, and that's usually with nothing.
Absolutely.
You build the foundation up as you go, and I think that's also a important topic that not everyone realizes of. We need to taking starting with creating the basics. There's never going to be a roadmap to get your business to where you want. Only the person knows, but there's people to help.
Absolutely. No, it's you never know. And with entrepreneurship, with starting a business, it's so unpredictable. You never know what's going to happen. There's going to be new challenges every day. I every single day there's new fires that come up that me or my team has to put out. Different situations, different things with clients that you don't expect, and you just have to learn on your feet and think about it. And you know what? You make the right decision sometimes, you mess up sometimes, but you learn from all the mistakes that you make, and that's okay. And we all grow from it, we learn from it, and we do better the next time.
Do you ever have anxiety with your job?
Oh, absolutely, all the time. I have taught. I mean, anyone who's an entrepreneur will tell you that if you don't go through periods of scarcity, of anxiety, of nervousness, like you're not a true entrepreneur. Like at the end of the day, there's tons of expenses. There's other people on my team who rely on making income, from the things that we do. There's clients who rely on the results that we can provide them. So absolutely. At the same time, I wouldn't change it for the world. I don't believe that everybody should go into the world of entrepreneurship, though. I think it's glorified these days based on social media and stuff. I think if you have passion for it, if you want to try it, do it. I 100% support that. I also think there's absolutely nothing wrong with getting a great 9 to 5 job, working at an organization, working at a company, and going that way. Because at the end of the day, being an entrepreneur means taking risk. The people who get paid the most money are the ones who are willing to take the most risk. It's not necessarily about putting in the most hours and the hardest work, or it's who can take the most risk for the longest period of time. And if you can take a lot of risk for several years, you're going to win. But not everybody's equipped to do that, and that's totally fine.
How do you deal with your anxiety when you have it?
For me, it's just I think there's two sides to it. Like I said before, I love lifting weights. So, for me, that's how I get on my stress. If I'm stressed, if I'm angry, if I'm annoyed, I'm going to the gym, I'm lifting heavy weights, and that's how I get out my anger or my frustration. At the same time, it's also taking a step back, taking a deep breath and realizing that things will get solved. I a year ago, 2 years ago would have wished to be in the position I am in today. Um, I was talking about this earlier with someone where I had, 5 million notifications come up today, and you know first, I don't know, today I was a little off with some things, and it caused me to just get distracted and look at them, and it's like I can't do that. I need to focus on my day-to-day business, and let focus working on my business and not necessarily in my business every day, and let the people on my team who are have their designated roles focus on those other things, and not get inundated with those distractions every day. And so it's really important just to focus on the things that I can control, and not the things that I can't control.
What is the easiest thing about your job?
I don't know about easiest. I'd say the best is, just being able to help others, and make the impact, on their lives. I think that's really rewarding, and it's why that, I do, and we do what we do, is being able to help other people. I think that's really important. I think that the things that we do time over time eventually get easier, but I wouldn't say that anything to do with, running a business is easy.
What is the hardest thing about your job?
Um, that's a good question.
Thank
I
you.
think I think one of the things that I've really started to work on this year with my team is how we set frame and expectation with clients. And so, for example, for the second business where we help other speakers grow, I think we used to get people who would come in and think that the systems we implement is like a magic bullet and that, we'll implement them and then next week they're going to get a million speaking engagements. And it's like, that's not the case. We'll help you with things, but there's a lot of work you have to do on your end. And so really setting the frame and expectations is hard to do because sometimes it can be awkward, sometimes it can be challenging. And it's something that we've had to get a lot better at the past few months. And it's always a learning curve. It's something that I used to not be the best at and I've gotten pretty good at it now. But it's always a learning curve. And sometimes there's calls that I have that I just don't want to be on the call. And I need to basically get myself in the right mentality before and say I need to be great for the next 20 minutes or the next 30 minutes. And then I can go, take a break. There's certain calls that, whether it be certain clients or certain whatever that, you like the client a lot, but maybe you're not in the right headspace right then. And so you need to make sure that you get yourself there because they paid you money and you need to fulfill on that and give them the best service possible.
What is your least favorite thing about your job?
I mean, I think it ties into that honestly to what we were just saying. So like I'm in the process right now of removing myself from certain parts of my businesses so I can focus on other areas. And so one of my least favorite things is like, and it's not necessarily a bad thing, but like today I literally had like, I don't know, I think like 12 calls. And like that's great. That means like some of them were with clients, some of them were with like prospects, but like I don't enjoy days like that because I feel like I'm not the most useful on calls. I feel like I'm more useful focusing on how we can grow, how we can scale, how we can market. And so I really love the days that if I have 6 hours of blank space on my calendar in a day, that's my favorite day in the world because I can sit on my laptop, I can get into the weeds, and I can find a way to help us scale to the next level. When I'm on calls all day, I mean, it's great, but I'm in the process of transitioning out of that position because in my opinion, my time is better used in other positions.
Are you going to eventually uh do you have an office space or does everyone on your team work from home?
Yeah, so everyone's remote. I mean, some people are in the US, some people are overseas. We have, virtual assistants who are part of our team who are over in the Philippines and they're phenomenal. They're great. And so everyone it's all remote locations, down the road, you never know as things grow and scale of if we have, physical office space. But in the day and age right now, it's for my business, it's not needed.
What is your education?
So I studied finance when I was at Tulane.
Have you done anything since Tulane to further your education?
I mean, I invest in myself every single year, every single month, and learning from different mentors, from different people to teach me certain things. Not necessarily in the traditional way of like I personally, like I said before, I'm not going to go to grad school or anything. I don't for myself. I don't want that. But I pay people who are more successful than me all the time to learn from them. I have a consulting company right now where, they've built a consulting company that does, several $1 million a year. And so I pay them to teach me how they got there so I can eventually get there.
And I think learning is a cool thing too. And some people will be like, okay, once I finish school, like, great, what other lessons? Like, I don't feel like learning, but I think actively learning, you can always do more to learn. There's never a time you're done learning because every experience you do, I feel like you learn something.
Absolutely. You always learn and from every single experience you will learn different things.
Who is on your crew?
Different people. My sister is on my team. We have virtual assistants on my team. So there's different people who are in different positions.
Do you have a number of how many people are on your team?
Um, I think it's about in different because some people are different, like contractors or that type of stuff. But I think it's about six of us total.
Where can people find out more about you or get in contact with you to possibly grow a business, reach out for speaking?
Yeah. So my website is aarongolub.com and my email is aaron@aarongolub.com.
And is there anything that you would like to leave people with today? Words of motivation, anything?
I think the biggest thing is that, no matter the challenge or adversity you face, anything is possible, with hard work, with determination.
I think some leaders or people in general don't realize this, but when you fell off the stage presenting, and you've done about 100, if not more, presentations, and that's never happened. Falling is a part of success, and I think that's a prime example of even if you fail, you get right back up and you just continue.
Yeah, that I've done hundreds of different of talks around, the world, from schools to companies to different events, and that's never happened to me. But it's a perfect example. I was able to tie it in honestly to the theme of that day of failure and getting back up and success. And for me, yeah, that had never happened to me before, but I learned from it. And it I think honestly was great for people to see that. I think it was a great thing that happened. And it's thankfully I didn't get hurt, but I was able to bounce right back up and tailor it into the message.
I love what you're doing. You have a great message. Love your work.
Thank you.
You're welcome. You'll be able to see a little of mine when this gets posted. I want to thank you
Awesome.
for joining. I want to thank you for all you do. You are amazing. And have a great
Thank you.
your day.
You as well.